Well, today we are going to chat a little bit about the independent schools admissions process. And I think for many people, this is something that sometimes can be a bit of a mystery. So let's demystify that today. Um, well, Dana, why don't you give us an overview about, why independent schools have an admissions process? How is our process different from a public school, for example? So why don't you kick us off and tell us a little bit about.
Sure. Admission schools have an admission process so that you, as parents, can or guardians can figure out exactly the right fit for your child. If you're doing any research here in St. Louis, you know that there are many, many schools. There are independent schools, there are public schools, there are parochial schools. There's an array of schools for you to choose from. And so with independent schools, we want you to look at us individually, try to find out the school that's the best fit for your family. We're all a little bit different from one another. You will get a wonderful education no matter which of these schools you decide upon or you choose to explore, but we're all a little bit different. So you need to do your research, talk to people. In a normal year, we'd have you in to see and meet so that you could get an understanding of our school culture, of the teachers who are at our school. The faculty is very important, and maybe even some of the parents that you would meet as you go along the way.
Wonderful, thanks. And Jake, what would you like to add?
Yeah, I agree with Dana that ultimately it's a two-way street, that both it needs to be a good fit for you as a family, but it also needs to be a good fit for the school because like she said, every school has some unique traits. There's going to be things that they all do really, really well, and a lot of things that are the same, but it's those little differences that make the difference between helping your son and or daughter be the best student that they can be. And so it's a help for both the school to see and also for you to see as a parent. And of course, it can be hard in these COVID times that we're living in to really get the community feel for the school, to really feel like what the atmosphere is on a daily basis, on a regular basis. And so all of us as independent schools are trying to come up with many unique, creative, and virtual ways to connect you with the school, with families, with students, with teachers, and ultimately that you can get the clearest picture to see what the school is about, what they believe in, what they stand for, and how they're going to help your son and or daughter be someone that grows through their years at that particular school.
Wonderful. And Dana, and we certainly recognize that we aren't in typical times right now, but can you tell us a little bit about the various components of the admissions process? What are the different pieces that a family would kind of go through? What are the stages?
Sure. The first thing I would suggest is that you reach out to the admissions team or the admissions director, either through email or via phone, and just talk to the person, talk to that individual and find out about their school. Then once we're having tours and open houses, I would invite you to sign up to take those. Right now you have to do virtual open houses and virtual tours. But in a normal time, we would want you to come in to actually see. So come in, see, then schedule a time to meet with the team. Meet with the admission director and get your questions answered so you can talk about your child. As Jake mentioned, we're trying to look for the best fit for you, and you're looking for the best fit for your family. So take a tour, meet with the admission director. Most places you can apply either on paper or online and submit an application. There's normally an application fee involved. Some schools offer fee waivers for their application, so you might want to look into that and ask about that, if that is available to you. After that, there is usually some kind of testing, whether even for 2.5 and 3-year-olds, there's a developmental screening or a play date, all the way up through the older grades where they come for shadow visits. So that's for the students to get to know the school. The older students get to know the school and to be able to give you some input about their experience when they come for a visit. That's very important. From there, you might meet with the head of school if that school follows that format. You might have an opportunity to meet with other people on the admissions team if that is appropriate for that school. Following that, we would usually get a child's school records, whether it's a teacher recommendation from their preschool or from their middle school or from their elementary school, just so we have some additional information about that child's strengths, challenges. And our decisions usually come out in the spring around March. And along with financial aid awards, if you've applied for financial aid. And usually you have a 2-week window after you receive your decision in March, sometime around the beginning of April. Your enrollment contract is due to be returned along with a deposit. And that's pretty much the process.
Great, thank you. Jake, certainly add to that, but also I wonder if you could address what the schools are looking for. How would a school evaluate an application? What are some of the things that you'll really be looking to evaluate?
Yeah, absolutely. And Dana covered really well the process of what it goes through. And every school is a little bit different, but in general, you have a first connection, be it a social media message, a phone call, an email, whatever that is. Then that leads into a in-person visit. And some of those visits are now virtual over a Zoom or a call like that with a typical member of the admissions team, an admissions director or someone else. And then after that, then some schools may then push you to the application and beginning the paperwork process and what that looks like for the application of financial aid. Some bring you in for an interview with the individual students. And then that continues the ball rolling until, again, like she said, those decisions are made for the final decisions for the next year, and then the parents can have the choice to accept or to go to a different school. And so I know financial aid is really important for families, and so a lot of families, especially with maybe some job losses and changes that have happened, and so the sooner that you can start the process, the quicker you can move through those steps in order to see what financial aid might look like. But in terms of the schools, for us, as we look at students as the whole picture. We don't just look at their academics. We don't just look at them in what they can bring to our after-school activities or to our sports. We look at the student as a whole, both what they are doing in school and who they are outside of school, because that ultimately is what we're here for. Yes, they need to learn math and science and history and English and so on and so forth, but we are helping develop the entirety of that student themselves. And so we look for students that have good character, that have integrity, that are passionate about being in a school, about learning and about growing. And of course, when it comes to those students that do have some academic struggles or that have had issues in the past, that's a case-by-case basis with some of those things. But we want students that are excited to be a part of our community and to build into what the school itself is doing. And so that ultimately, for myself and many other admissions directors, that's why we have those face-to-face meetings, because you can look at a student on paper, but to really get to know a student, you need to see them face-to-face, and you need to talk with them about their passions, their desires, their struggles, where they need to grow in, and learning more of the deeper issues of the child and of the family as a whole, and what the family is going through, and how we can step into that process and help with those years of growth that are so instrumentally important in grade school, middle school, and high school.
Wonderful, thanks. And Dana, you've mentioned, that the families have a chance to come in and meet a lot of people. As the admissions decisions are being made, who is making those decisions? And that also is a fairly holistic process as well, correct? Can you comment on that?
Absolutely. So here at community school, and I think at a lot of other schools, there's an admissions team. It's not just myself as admission director making this decision by myself. there usually are other members of the team who you've met along the way, the head of school, maybe if you are in the lower school, a lower school division director or an upper school division director. Maybe your child is met with a teacher and a teacher has some input into it. And so it's not just one person making a decision. And I think overall, what every school wants is a family that understands the mission and the philosophy of the schools that you're interested in. Overall, I like to tell parents what you really want among these great schools is the best fit for your family and for your child, to really just dig deep, learn about the school's mission. Are they living the mission statement that they have? Is it relative to everything that they do and say that they do? And are they doing what they say their mission statement is? Take a look at that, and that should help you navigate some of the process. But it's not just one person making a decision. There are many voices involved.
And for you as a family, like you said, Dana, it's not one person, especially as students get older into middle school and high school. They might make a decision on, I want to go to this school because the lunch is really good, or their friends are all going there, or they have this really cool after school program. But of course, you as a parent have to recognize the needs of your individual student and the needs of your family and what school is going to help them the most and grow in those areas. And so that can be a hard thing to balance between the opinions of your child and the needs of what they actually need. And as a parent of a newborn, it's intimidating, I understand, to have to make some of those decisions as a family. And so having those discussions at home and helping the student understand why this school, why you really like this school, and it's deeper than just a lunch or their friends or this after school program, that there are some deeper things that ultimately are going to be way more instrumental in terms of their growth than just having a school that they go to their friends with. And so I think you hit the nail on the head, Dana, that it really is a whole team of people, both in the school and at home, making those decisions.
Wonderful. And if a family wants to connect with another family to learn, and just hear about what's your experience been like at the school, is that something that you all could do? Connect families with current families to learn more? Dana?
Sure. I love that. If I have a family come in that's maybe that is an international family, or a family who has a child that I know is similar to a family has a child that's interested in somebody else that has a child who's similar in the school. Maybe even it's twins. What's it like to have twins at your school, or other multiples at your school? I will definitely help connect those parents so that they can talk, because we all know that as admissions people, our job is to sell the school. And we're happy to do that. But sometimes parents have questions. They just want to know, what's it like to be a parent at a particular school? And so we think that's important. And I believe our parents will be honest and forthright and tell them what their experience is. And if you want to talk to more than one parent, or if you would like to speak with another administrator, we've had that happen. So, we want you to have as much information as you need, so that if your child is accepted, you can make an informed decision, and you have a lot of knowledge about individual schools, and you're able to differentiate among or between the schools that you have offers from.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and we actually offer, even on our website, we have a program that has current parents and alumni on there, where you can have a direct conversation with them. And as Dana said, we'll always try to connect a family to a current family or an alumni family. And we'll especially look for things like people that live in the same geographic region, if they came from the same schools, if their student is an athlete or in the musical or the play, or does robotics. We'll connect the families of similar interests of those students in whichever way that we can help, like Dana said, help that prospective family to see what is going on in the school. And it's always great to get a current parent perspective, because they have a pulse on exactly what's happening at the school, everything from communication to activities and everything in between. They can give you the clearest picture of what the school is actually like. And so whatever you need, and some parents prefer a phone call, some parents prefer emails, whatever is the best way for you to connect. We as admissions directors want to help you and give you all the resources you have to be able to make the best decision possible.
Wonderful. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. Last thing before we end, is there any final advice you would give to families who are thinking about applying to an independent school? Dana, we can start with you.
I would say keep an open mind as you go through. Be honest, you know your child best. And so be honest with yourself about, as you go through looking at different programs and really thinking about what you think would be the best fit for your child. Because if you come to our schools, we want you to be happy. We want you to feel included, to be a part of the environment, to understand what it is that you have decided to join. So take your time, do your research, ask a lot of questions. When it's time, come in to see, come back if you need to come back. We want you to come back to see and answer all of your questions. And then once you make your decision, go with it. Just, it's just, you made it, don't stew about it. You've done the due diligence that is required, hopefully, for you to make that informed decision and then go forward from there.
Wonderful.
Absolutely, Dana. Yeah, research really well, collect lots of information, ask lots of good questions, get the best picture you can of what the school is like, and then go for it. Ultimately, you will never truly know what the school is going to be like for your child until they are in it in the middle of the school year. And so do everything that you can to make the best decision possible, and know that the schools are going to equip you to help do that and continue equipping you when you enter the school. I know that as an admissions director, I still have quite a few interactions with the families that I have enrolled, even as they enter the school, because the process doesn't end when they step through the door on the first day of school. It continues because our current families are the best at getting more new families into the school. They are the best testament to what we do. And so no amount of cleverness from myself or marketing or anything else will be as great as the current families that we have. And so our goal is to help you make the best decisions and to give you the tools to be in the best situation you can possibly be in. So we look forward to meeting you and hope to see some of you soon.
I agree. Thank you very much.